Hey guys, appreciate your time. Resolution Race 2021 in the building. I am your host. Thank you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also, share the video as well for those who you care about, those who you work all day with on the job, shift workers that work 10, 11, 12, even more hours a day. I've done it. Trust me, it's not easy, but I do appreciate the work that you're giving to the universe here. But I want to talk about something that's very, very important, and that is attitude. I'm sure, folks, you've heard a lot of times your attitude determines your altitude. How you perceive something and how you think about something that is important will carry out into that particular subject or whatever it is, the agenda that you have going on. Now, we're talking about sleep and getting some good rest. Your attitude determines how you sleep. Now, of course, we will get deep into things that prohibit you from resting, such as restless leg syndrome, insomnia, acid reflux, sleep apnea, dreams, staying out, all those things that we'll discuss in a different video. But for right now, we want to talk about attitude. Have you ever thought that it's your attitude that's keeping you from a good night's rest? We know that's the case on a job or when it comes to sports and all those other things. But have you ever thought that it's your attitude that will prevent you from getting a good night rest and eventually leading to bad health and, of course, possibly early death? Here's a bad attitude moment for you right here. Have you ever heard the term, you'll get a lot of sleep when you're dead? Have you ever heard that? We hear that sometime from people we look up to, celebrities, people in the community. And what that's saying is you really don't need a good night rest to be successful. You really don't need sleep. Sleep is not that important right now. But I can promise you, yeah, you will sleep a lot when you're dead, but it'll come a lot sooner, along with bad health, folks. Sleeping when you're dead. We are who we hang around, folks. We listen to people and they'll get you successful when you're talking finances, when you're talking about status, getting in a good space on a job, opening a business, and all those things are great. And we listen to them. And a lot of us take heed to what they say. And sometimes they can be bad when it comes to a lack of rest. We need our rest so we can perform. So be careful who you listen to. How about this one right here? You don't think sleep is important, so you don't do the things to prepare for it. Again, bad attitude. You don't say it. It doesn't come out of your mouth. You may not even have it in your mind, but your subconscious mind will do it based on what you heard, based on what you read, based on who you hang around. Think of this one right here. You just got off from work 3, 4, maybe 5 o'clock, but you don't say you don't need a good night rest, but your behavior does other things. You don't prepare the night before. You don't make up your bed. And that's an opinion. But I think making up your bed, cleaning your room, making sure the place is fresh and organized, put you in a right place of mind when it's time to lay down, when it gets dark, when the lights cut off. It'll put you in a right mind and prepare you. What about doing your homework earlier for some of those who are still in school? What about preparing the night before when it comes to your lunch? When it comes to ironing your clothes or getting your uniform ready. Now, of course, I've said some of these things in other videos which may spill or overlap into the idea of the attitude, but that's okay. Sometimes we need to hear it more than one time to get it. That's right. Sometimes we need to hear it multiple times. When I was in sales, sometimes we have to ask the customer 5, 6, and 7 times before they buy something. We just creatures of habit. So we do the same here. What about this one right here, folks? What about not buying things that will help you get a good night's sleep? In other words, being cheap on them when it comes to the blanket, the bed, things like that, your clothes. You know, when I was a kid, my grandmama said, you could just sleep in anything. That's right. And sometimes I sleep in anything. I sleep in jeans, shoes, socks, a suit, sleep in any. Well, I'm exaggerating right there with the suit, but literally sleep in jeans when I was a kid. Now, grandmother did the best she could, but it's up to me as I get older to place more emphasis on sleep. And of course, grandmama did place a lot of emphasis in sleep, but I just use that one as an example because sometimes we don't buy the right sleeping gear and we are not comfortable when we go to bed. All those things play on our attitude. If you were to go to worship or to go to an interview, you would have on a nice suit. You would make sure your hair is combed. You would make sure you had on the perfect attire so you can feel comfortable and look your best. But when it comes to sleep, sometimes the attitude part just isn't there. We just don't place a lot of emphasis on it. And I'm here to bring these things out to the forefront, folks. I'm here to put these things on the table so we can recognize them and do better, folks. Think about this right here. Think of someone with a bad attitude. There are plenty of people I know and you know that didn't have a good attitude on that job. They were late all day. They couldn't do the job well. In fact, they may have half did the job, but they came in with a smile. A lot of times, them folks didn't get fired right away, did they? They didn't get fired right away. Let's say they were willing to learn. They were willing to learn. I know a lot of people right now they're still there 3 years later because of their attitude, because of their smile. If they were negative, they didn't show it. And then you have people who can do the job very well. I mean, they can run with the best of them. If it's retail, they know product. If it was on the football field, on the basketball court, they knew where the play is going. They had a high IQ in the sports realm. Whatever you can think of, those folks with a bad attitude did not last long. They got fired. In fact, they fired themselves. They ran themselves off, folks. So we can use that same analogy and apply it to our rest. Yes, a person needs to eat right. Yes, we need to watch what we eat before we go to bed. Yes, important not to take caffeine after a certain amount of time and mentally check out our job and mentally check away from family issues when you're trying to go to rest. All those things are important when it comes to putting priorities in place and all those other things. But more importantly, that don't cost a dime, that don't cost a penny, is to have a great attitude about that. So I want you to think about that, folks. So tonight when you get ready to lay down, or before you get ready to lay down, hours leading up to it, I want you to say to yourself, what can I do to have a better attitude? Should I have a better attitude? Will my attitude help me to get a better rest, leading to better health, longevity, and so forth? Will my rest allow me, after having a good attitude, to perform better on the job, to perform better when I'm at worship or with an event with the family, with an event with the friends, on an interview, and so forth? Will a better rest lead me to do that after having a good attitude? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. I also want you to leave some comments, hit that subscribe button, share the video with some folks that you care about on the job, some people you work with 8, 9, 10 hours or more with. Share the video with them so they can become encouraged as well. All right, folks, signing off.